Hello. I'd like to talk to you today about adopting a pet from a shelter versus purchasing an animal from a breeder. Um, Many of you know that it costs quite a bit of money to get an animal from a breeder, and with a shelter, it is significantly less expensive. Not to mention, if you're looking for an animal, how would you like to see the personality of the dog before you take them home? With breeders, you're usually getting a puppy and you never see that. And adopting an animal from a shelter not only is good for that animal, but it's good for your heart and it's good for your soul. I am the owner, the mother of two shelter cats. They were sisters, and when I saw them, I saw that they were cuddled together in the cage, and I just knew I couldn't separate them. And I was looking for two cats anyway, and this was perfect because having two cats from the same litter actually helps. They know each other. There's not that period where you have to try and integrate the animals with each other. And they came home and were just loving and happy, and just felt so good to take them both home with me that day. Um, when you adopt from a shelter, you have to know one thing. When considering between a shelter animal and a breeder, shelters have hundreds of thousands of animals every single year that are looking for a good home. Many of them are going to end up being put to sleep or spending their life in a cage. And that's one of the reasons why I advocate so much about adopting from a shelter. Those animals are just waiting for a happy home like yours. When you adopt a pet from a shelter, there's things that you need to keep in mind. Not bad things, just something to keep in mind. A lot of these animals could have been rehabilitated because they were victims of cruel owners or neglected, and they're looking for a patient home, someone who has the time or has the patience to help them further rehabilitate themselves. And I know many people out there have that kind of caring and love that they require, and you would be the perfect person to adopt them from a shelter. And a lot of these animals also come fully trained. For whatever reason, they could have been lost from their family or displaced during a move, and they're already trained and ready for you to take them home. You don't need to toilet train, you don't need to potty train, you don't need to teach them not to chew, bite, claw, or anything. They're ready to be your loving, wonderful pet. And the other thing I hear is about full bred animals. And in shelters, you can find full bred animals. Full breeds are huge still. And there are a lot of mutts, but you can find full bred animals because their owner had to move, their new place couldn't allow animals with that type of breed, or they just couldn't afford to care for them anymore. And the only thing that separates that full-bred animal in the shelter from one that you get from a breeder is a lack of paperwork. And truly, if you're not planning on breeding the animal, that is not something you really should have to worry about. It's just a piece of paper, and that doesn't change the look of the animal, the temperament of the animal, or anything. Um, just where they came from. And breeders are not always the most reliable source for a pet, or for an animal that you're wanting to breed anyway, because I'm sure many of you have heard the term puppy mill. They don't care about what the relationship is between the mother pup and the father pup or cat. They just know that they need to have more pups or kittens to sell. So they breed them over and over and over without regard to any sort of hereditary diseases, or genetic diseases, or characteristics that could come with that. And that sets an animal up for major, major health issues later on. And a lot of times you don't know it, but I know stories of people who have taken their puppy home, and within the first few weeks that they're home, that disease comes out, and they're spending not only the money to get the shots, the spaying, the neutering, if that's what they choose, but now they're spending overabundance of money trying to treat this animal. So you take that several $100s you spend at the breeder, and now you're spending several more hundreds of dollars treating the animal for a disease that could have easily been prevented by proper breeding and ownership on the part of the breeder. But at a shelter, you're less likely to have to worry about that because these animals have been through the vet already. A lot of them come with their shots. They come with their spaying and neutering, so all you have to do is take them home. And it is easily 10 times less expensive to adopt an animal from a shelter than it is to get from a breeder. They come with spaying, neutering, shots, and a lot of times they'll even send you home with the first little bit of food and a leash and your basic necessities to get you started. Like I said, they come fully stocked. And what better way to get to know an animal? I mean, really, they've already been through some sort of filter process. The people at the shelter can tell you something about the animal, whether or not they get along with children or other pets. And if they do get along with other pets, is it just cats? Is it just dogs? Are they fit to be around children or other people? Or is it sort of a one-on-one dog? Are you going to be able to introduce another dog maybe on later on down the line? You know, these shelter animals are really, really the best and most loving animals. They truly are grateful when you take them home. I mean, can you imagine coming home day after day and having that happy, happy face right there greeting you every day? Wouldn't that just be wonderful? And knowing that not only did you save that animal, but that animal is truly grateful the rest of their lives. So I hope I've given you enough to think about, and I hope you do try to adopt before you get from a breeder. Thank you very much.